Anyway, okay, maybe we'll get into it now. What time is it?
Ask
your
auntie. I don't think either of us were on the same time on that.
Look,
they got 3 different intros on that one.
It could all be fixed.
We're a little rusty. We're a little rusty this week. Let's see here. Where's it? Oh, there it goes. So this one says, and actually this one, it came from me, it says. I don't remember writing it, but okay.
It tracks.
It tracks. Right, it tracks. But it's actually, I'm glad this one came up. It's been in here for a while because I just recently watched Special, and we'll maybe even touch on that a little bit. And that's the TV show that's on, is it Netflix? HBO?
Netflix, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 2 years since their last season came out.
Yeah, this season was good too. Yeah. But and it says, could you be in a throuple? Do you believe you can live with multiple people at once?
I couldn't. Honestly,
why not?
I couldn't. I don't know. I just being with one person is enough. I mean, at least in my mind, if you're doing it correctly, it's enough. But I guess maybe having an extra person just takes a little bit of the work off of your shoulders. So
right,
like you got options. If you're bored over here, float on over there. I don't know, but I don't know. For me personally, I just want one person. And honestly, the thought of entertaining 2 people is just a lot. Currently right now, I am guardian of 2 kids, and even just having kids in the relationship is just enough for the both of us. Like we looked at each other and we're like, oh, I don't know if we want kids anymore.
Oh, right.
So like the thought of just even a whole other body in our relationship at all is just like, it's. I understand why people are into it. Totally get it. Go for it. I got many friends who are actually in throuples. Some who have been in multiple throuples. And they love it. It's for them. Go for it. I don't care. Get, what is it? Split roasted every damn day if you want to. I don't care. Ooh. But for me personally, it's a no, ma'am.
What are you thinking, Dawon?
Theoretically, I can get there. Like theoretically,
right.
Like it's not going to happen, but theoretically I can get there. I just think about the sustainability of it. Right. And then I think about the practicality. Like, okay, are we all sleeping in the same bed every single night?
I think that same question.
Like, no, I mean, legit. Like I get it for like, okay, take the sex out of it.
Right.
Like the you're in a relationship with 2 other people. Are we sleeping in the same? Is that what we're doing? Or do we, share like 2 different homes and like, you go from, I listened to Bob the Drag Queen's and Monet Exchange's sibling rivalry, and Bob the Drag Queen is in. I don't know if he classifies. I don't want to like misclassify his relationship, but he has 2 boyfriends.
Yeah,
and he's got one that lives here in New York, and he's living with his other one in LA, and he used to live with this one in New York. And so, but they have this relationship, but they're not like, they don't all live together. And I think for a long time, his 2 boyfriends had never even met. So like the idea of a throuple is kind of like, okay, are we talking about a short-term kind of like flingy kind of situation, or are we talking about a long-term relationship where y'all gonna grow old together as a threesome? And I'm just thinking about, how is that gonna work? Like, who am I gonna sit next to on the plane when we go to Fiji? You can only sit next to one.
You're gonna be in that middle seat.
You know what I mean? Like the practicality of it, and like, okay, and every time we go to a restaurant, we either have to sit in a booth or there's going to be one person sitting by themselves, so I wonder who's going to be the one thinking like, okay, how many times have I been sitting by myself versus everybody else? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's what I keep thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
I can get there with like, you know, the notion of like sex and people being polyamorous and, you know, and being in love with more than one person. It's not really how I'm wired, but I can understand it conceptually. I just, what's the practicality of it?
And I think that's why I say no, because as thinking about how this would work, that I'm just like, oh God, I'm exhausted.
Like who would be like your?
But I will say this. I think if I was single, I could be the third in the relationship. Okay. I don't think I could be in a relationship and invite a third. Because when you're the third or the one being asked to enter the relationship, I feel like the pressure ain't really on you. It's on the couple. It's on the two that already had the relationship to really maintain the stability of their own home. So for me, it's like, I'm here to have fun.
So they're the meat, the potatoes, and you're the spice.
Exactly.
The seasoning. I mean,
let
me blackenize it. The seasoning.
I'm the dessert with all this cake.
Oh, I know.
You're
that's
the Lowry's.
You're the sponsored by Duncan Hines, bitch.
Okay.
Duncan Hines.
But I mean, like, I think I would probably be more inclined to do it that way if I was a third going into the relationship, because I think if you are a couple, the person that's going to be that third has to have an interest to the individual that's going to be the third. They both have to be into it. I don't think it's one of those things where like it works for one person, not the other. I think that's just a threesome that happens in bed. But a throuple is actual dating and wanting to have both romantic and physical relationships with these people.
And building a life together.
Right, exactly.
Like, what does that look like?
Right. So I think as a third, I think I would probably enjoy that more because I would be getting twice as much of the attention. You know, like they would be the one interested in me.
What about you, Kerel?
You know, it's funny. Like I had never I'm trying to remember what I watched to initially put this question in there, but I think I'm like you, Dawon. Like in theory, I get it, quite frankly. And I think as I've gotten it more, the older I've gotten, and maybe the more secure I've gotten in myself, the more secure I've been in the relationship I'm in and things like that, that I could potentially see. And I'm trying to frame it there. Right. How exactly. But then it's just like you said, it's like the day-to-day stuff that I'm like
whose house are we going over to for Christmas?
Right.
And then whose house are we going over to Thanksgiving? You know, and then wait, do you then just rotate and then you have to relegate one for
sadly,
Easter?
the optics around it still is just like, okay, and it's sad. Like I try to live as much of like, I don't care what people are thinking, but at the end of the day, you still care a little bit. So it's just like, especially when it comes to family around the Thanksgiving and the Christmas, what's the optics of saying, okay, like just say Corey and I like got into a throuple now after damn near 9 years, it'll be 9 years this month. Okay, all the families are used to Kerel and Corey. Now it's Kerel and Corey and Carrie. You know, like there's a dynamic there that I do know that other folks may not understand. That unfortunately, I probably would still care a little bit about.
That's real. That's real.
And so it's stuff like that that kind of hinders me, but the older I've gotten, I can see how it happens. And honestly, I would almost be probably more open to potentially another couple, like Corey and
like
I,
a foursome.
And
like
exactly,
a
like Dawon and Adam, Kerel and Corey.
Yes.
That makes it a little easier.
Then you can just pair off, you can do whatever.
Exactly.
You know, you got dinner dates all the time. It's fun.
Right. And so that's maybe more of the poly. I don't know how all it would work or whatever. But I think I'm more open to that than maybe a throuple. However, I'm a never say never human being. So like, but at the end of the day, it probably would come simply to the practicality of it. I'm not sleeping in the middle. I get too hot. So at least I'm going to be on the edge. So y'all going to have to figure that shit out.
And then if you got to get up in the middle of the night to like, you'll go get some water or go use the bathroom and whatnot. You got to take the covers off of everybody because you in the middle.
Right.
You know, so you waking everybody up.
Exactly. And like I know some couples like they almost do a rotation where like, okay, you're sleeping in the guest room tonight, we sleep together. So whatever works for whomever. But in that regard, I agree. I think it'd just be a little harder. But I, in theory, can see now how it could happen.
Isn't that interesting though?
Yeah.
Like,
Emotions,
isn't that
there's too
interesting?
many
Like, if you
feelings, too
think,
many
but
love languages.
just the
I
just the notion that how we have evolved as a community, as a not even a queer community, but just as a community altogether, that we can now start having conversations about polyamory and like, you know, like the notion of like being in a 3-person or multiple person, you know, relationship, and that not be so taboo. It might, to your point, Kerel, it might, you know, like people may still have questions and you might not have it all figured out, but like, I was watching an episode of The Chi last night, and you know, they were talking about, it was you know, me and the names don't get along, but it's but it was a couple in there where the guy always cheated on the girl and they have a baby together, whatever. And, you know, to get back at him, she cheated on somebody else. And she was like, you know what? 2 gay guys that she was talking to, because she sells weed. This show is so good. She was talking to two gay guys she was talking to at a weed party, whatever. They were like, well, you know, you should just think about having an open relationship. You know, at least you know if he's fucking around, you know. And it's like, how evolved are we that these conversations are happening so that, you know, whatever, however it is you want to define your relationship, it's on you, and it's not like mired with all of these like other eyes, like, oh, your relationship gotta be like this, and you know, you gotta get married and da 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 da.
All right, like, because I don't think
celebrity that could be in y'all relationship, that y'all be in a throuple with, that both you and your partners have been like,
that's it.
Yeah, we got 3. So Henry Cavill.
Oh, oh my God! I think that's everybody's list.
For sure. Michael B. Jordan. And then Ricky Martin.
Ooh. We went to Puerto Rico and Corey was still searching for damn Ricky Martin. He's like, every time I come to Puerto Rico, I'm looking for Ricky.
Was he yelling Menudo? Menudo!
Girl, he be like, Ricky! Ricky! I'm like, Corey, shut up.
That would be our 3 that both of us would be like.
Jason Momoa's up there for us. Who else?
He's too big for Fizz.
Ooh. Like, because here I am. I'm 6'2". So, like, any dude that's, like, taller than me and just beefy like that, I'm like, damn, you make.
But are you talking about, like, are you talking about being somebody that like you would be sexually attractive? Because, like, what I'm struggling with is, like, there's one thing for, like, the sex. That's a whole group of, you know, people. But then there's another one about who we would want to be, like, the person that you want to be in a relationship.
It's literally those 3. Like, we like Henry because he's also nerdy, very family, like, really cool, like, laid back, very introvert kind of guy. We like Michael B. Jordan because he's out there doing the work. You know, he's out there making a difference, a good family man. We love Ricky Martin because he is fine, sexy, a great guy, handsome. He can sing my panties off any day.
She bangs.
But
yeah, that's interesting. I guess now that you asked that, Dawon, a lot of it kind of does go to like the physical attraction immediately, because it's like we don't know these people at the end of the day. Yes, we assume kind of whatever their persona is out there, but the day-to-day, that's a whole nother thing when like they leave their drawers on the bathroom floor for the 20th time, getting on your damn nerves today, you know?
Yeah, but those are other things that you never know until you're dating
anybody. And that would be the hardest part, honestly, with the throuple too. It's just like, damn, that's another dynamic.
Okay, but I guess for what you know of a person, not as far as what they can do as a celebrity, but what you know of a celebrity. Is there one out there that
I guess we've never talked about it in that regard? But I know every time Henry Cavill come on that damn screen, I know both of us like, damn, who is this man? That's a man, Maury. That's a man. That's a man. Woo! Jesus. But Michael B. Jordan's up there too. Like the 3 you said, you can't go wrong with. Jason Momoa is just like another one I know. Maybe a little more for me because I'm like, ooh, that's another man, Maury. But I like, and just thinking too though, like another weird thing about it as I've gotten older is I don't know, because I'm not naturally just a jealous human being, I don't think that part would really bother me as much. Yes, there's days where you're like, oh, I wish I could go there. Like, I got to work today and y'all two doing some shit. I want to do some shit too. That might be like the day-to-day shit about it. But I don't even think there's like a jealousy part of it. That I say that now. Who knows what you get into it. That I don't think that would ever steer me out of a situation like that as well.
I just know like the one thing is a person would have to be verse. If we
yes,
were to ever
I agree with that
one,
statement.
They would have to be verse.
Absolutely. I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Because I want to fuck, I want to be fucked. Yeah, I get it. Oh, yeah,
I mean,
we just in here.
One lane and one lane only. So this person better be able to work both of us. I'm just
saying. Oh, so hard. Motherfuckers want to find me. Got one lane and one lane only. But who's your celebrity, I guess, whatever couple, Dawon?
I'm really trying to figure that out. Like who, like between like, so I know I shared this on the podcast, but like I'm like a, what is it? Sapiosexual or sapiosexual or whatever. I'm more into personality and swag and like your intellect and want to be able, like, I want that connection. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, loves the body, but for me, like if we connect, that's it.
That's right.
Having said that, I would say Lenny Kravitz.
Oh,
because I feel like
you're right.
Because I feel like
right. I grab my brush and everything. I'm brushing my hair like.
I feel like he gives really good.
What's
like,
he give?
I was gonna say like only child energy. Like meaning like he's one of those people that like he has so much of his own thing going on that like it would be additive to our relationship outside of like just the physicality and all that kind of stuff. Like I feel like you know that would be cool and whatnot. Yeah. Also, who is the guy that's in those Marvel movies? It's not Daredevil.
Which guy?
Ryan.
You're talking about Deadpool?
Yeah, him.
Yes.
Because I feel like I keep wanting to say Ryan
there it
Reynolds. Thank you. I was like,
I keep on wanting to say Philippe, and I'm like, it's so.
I know. I was saying the same thing.
I'm like, that's 1997.
Right. But the way that Adam and I like our humor with each other, we're always poking each other, like figuratively and literally, like. And so, like, I feel like he would be able to mix in with like how we banter and how we play, so to speak, and you just fine as fuck.
Yeah.
And then I think I said this on the past podcast, and I don't know if Adam would agree with this, but Leon. Do you know Leon? Leon, who was the ex of Cynthia Bailey for the Housewives fans out there, whatever. He was a 5 Heartbeats, and he was a crack addict in 5 Heartbeats, and and he also played the Black Jesus in Madonna's Like a Prayer.
Yep.
But if like I follow him on IG, and like his personality is just so. He's got just a really cool, like amazing kind of like just magnetic energy. Swag. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I know who another one, Nick Jonas. That's another one. Corey just talked about Nick Jonas the other day. He's like, what's that Jonas brother? I'm like, Nick? He's like, yeah, he can get it. I'm like, yes, he can. Jesus.
He can get it and take it.
Woo! Jesus. But yeah, like it's just, but like this is quite, oh God, this question is interesting just because watching the second season of Special, not to give away too much if you haven't watched it, watch it, by the way, it's amazing. Like there's a couple scenes in there that killed me, like dying laughing, like the wedding scene and then like the karaoke scene. Karaoke scene killed my ass. But part of the story this season is him like just venturing and discovering what he likes and doesn't like in relationships and things like that. And he was almost in a throuple situation, or kind of was in a throuple situation.
Yeah.
And Corey goes, don't even fucking think about it. And I was like, really? I was like, why? He's like, And he never elaborated on why. So I honestly want to have the conversation just to see where it stems from. Just like, I'm not looking to get into Throuple or nothing like that, but just to see why he feels that way. Does he feel like, oh, like I'm too jealous for it, or just too much energy for it, and things like that. So it's a to be continued conversation. But
I also do share. Feels like I don't share.
And that's kind of how Corey is.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's a difference between like purposefully going out to pursue that kind of arrangement versus finding yourself in that situation.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean? Like if you are out with your boo and, you engage with somebody that you both feel like the energy is right.
Right.
Like that could be one situation, versus like somebody coming home saying, hey honey, I want to have a conversation with you about da 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 da.
Exactly.
And it becomes a one-sided kind of thing. Not always a one-sided, but it can seem like a one-sided kind of want and ask.
Yeah.
I feel like in relationships, there's always these like power dynamics that are always shifting and you're managing. And so that might be one thing that plays into it, who brings it up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Cause like, I'm pretty open here, but sometimes I'm like, damn, I share so much. But because I think we're both pretty open at this point in our relationship to if something popped off, it is what it is kind of thing. But I agree with that statement. There might be something for him at least, and maybe me sometimes, I don't know. The purposely seeking that out part of it, meaning that means you're leaving me behind.
Right.
You know, and that's not what I want. Exactly. Right. I don't want to feel that way either. So, but it's just like there's a conversation and a communication aspect that you need to make sure whomever's seeking this out or potentially doing this, that you need to elaborate. And that's why I want to have the conversation further with Corey. That way it's already just out there. And that way I just have a better understanding of where it's stemming from.
And where he sits on the spectrum.
Absolutely.
Because again, it's a whole other thing if you're just out and about. Let's say that you're, traveling, you're in, like Croatia at some like bathhouse and, there's like some, 6'8", pink nipply, just like, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to paint a picture.
He said, right. It's like what I doing? Like that was that low key about to tell my business some more. That was Corey and I in Amsterdam. Literally, it was this Turkish guy with bright blue eyes sitting next to us at the Eagle, giving us the eye literally for like an hour. And finally, Corey and I were like, this motherfucker fine as hell. Everyone in this bar is looking at this dude, and he looking at us. Mm-hmm. What we about to do? Like, like, is this a missed opportunity? So literally, literally, we're like, okay, right, literally, honey, this literally top probably like five just fine motherfuckers I've seen in person with my two eyes in my life. That both Corey and I were both like, this motherfucker's fine as hell. So we're like, okay, we're at the Eagle. It is what it is. You know how the Eagles are in a lot of places. And so they have locations where you could do what you need to do. Get things popping if it needs to. And literally half the bar followed us down to the location, and it spooked the guy. And the guy like scurried off, and we're like, fuck all you motherfuckers in here. That motherfucker was fine as hell.
He was ours.
Blocking our blessings.
He was blocking all our blessings. Oh my, I will like Corey just brought that up like recently for some reason. I forget why. But we're like, man, remember that hot Turkish dude in Amsterdam with the bright blue eyes? And it was just beefy and oh. Those are the moments though that you speak of that you just never know. And luckily at this point, I think we're both pretty secure in our relationship that in that moment we made a game time decision to try to move forward.
Come on, Audible. Come on.
And, right, and people cock blocked it, but it is what it is, and we were both okay. It wasn't anything like like jealousy or anything.
It wasn't
like
one-sided.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't one-sided and wasn't coming from a bad place. Like that's the kind of thing that like that I appreciate, you know, when couples, partners, married people, whatever your relationship status is, when you understand what your boundaries are, because you've had a conversation about it. And when you make decisions, because that's really what a relationship is all about. It's like you're doing it together, you know, and if you make a decision that you guys, you can play separately or you play together or you're monogamous, and that's like you make those decisions together and you make those commitments together about what it's supposed to look like.
Absolutely.
And if the commitments need to change, then the commitments need to change.
Is that part? That's the thing. I think a lot of people are just still scared to change. Like Kerel at 37 is not the same Kerel that Corey met me at however old I was, 28, 29 years old.
I blame Apple. It's Apple's fault.
It's all Apple.
But it was GarageBand. Too many, like depending on the number of taps that you make on GarageBand, that ups your sexuality meters.
That part. But community, continue to send your questions, and I guess I sent this one in. So Kerel, keep sending your questions in. But community, send your questions in aya@minorityareport.com or DM us. And we need some new ones. Like, we need some new ones. Come on now, y'all.
Well, look,
y'all stingy
tell us
this
what y'all
year.
doing. I mean, listen, a lot of places are opening up, so I know that y'all need to open up too.
Right. So we want to know. And actually, I'm going to use this as a teaser. Community, send us your Ask Your Aunties questions. Come on, we need some new shit. Come on. Thank you, boo. Thank you.
Yes.